Hi everyone, I hope you are all well. It's Saturday again. I've managed to go like a whole month of getting videos to you on a Saturday now instead of a Sunday, but I'm sure you're not disappointed with that, or at least I hope you're not. What have I been up to this week? Well, this week I've been working from home a lot because I went and bust my ankle. I had an accident, took a tumble, stepped on a pothole that was full of water, which I thought was just a standard puddle, and it sent me flying, and I bashed all my right shin and my ankle, and I've been in bad pain for a few days and hobbling around like crazy. So so I'm still resting my ankle and everything to try and get it back to the way it was. So because of that, I've been doing a lot of reading today, and I have finished Everything by Nicola Yoon. So I'm here to talk about it. So Everything, I've pretty much read it. Well, I read half of it over Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yes, it was Thursday, because last night I was out having dinner with family, and then today I've read the rest of it. So pretty much 2 days it's taken me to get through this book, and it's a very easy read, let me put it that way. So I didn't feel like, oh my god, I've got half of this book left and I'm gonna have to get through it, as it were. I've just sat here since I don't know, about 8ish this morning, 9ish this morning, and started it, and I finished it within a few hours. So it didn't take very long at all. When my sister read this, because she's read it before me, she read it all in a single day. So it's not that hard to read. And what helps is that you have this thing where you'll have chapters which are like this, where you've only got like a paragraph. Some chapters it's only a single sentence, such as that one. So it's the way that it's structured, it makes sense because you're in the mind of the character Maddie, but at the same time it felt like I am getting through this book very, very quickly. Is that a good thing? I don't know, but there we go. I got through it quickly. So the concept of Everything is that there is this girl called Madeline, or Maddie, who lives with her mum, and they have a nurse who comes to their house every day, called Carla. And Maddie has a condition whereby she can't go outside. It's the bubble baby syndrome, STID, I think they're the initials. And yeah, so she can't go outside. She could be allergic to like anything, have very serious attacks that could possibly kill her from reacting to things. And so she lives in her house, and she doesn't know anything outside of her house. She lives with her mum. Her dad and her brother have passed away, and it's just them and the nurse Carla. And then one day a boy moves in across the road called Ollie, with his parents and his sister, and it's all about them two and their relationship. They begin to communicate with each other by writing messages on windows and such, and it develops further from there. And it's about their relationship, things that they learn, etc. And to me, that is kind of in a way a kind of a generic, if you want to call it, if that's the appropriate word, or if the word it's the word that I can think of to use right now. It's kind of the generic teen story. Girl meets boy, they fall in love. That that kind of. It kind of like Holding Up the Universe. How I read last week, I couldn't deal with it. I just didn't like it. I couldn't get into it, but I kind of felt like where this book, that kind of pattern went, so would the pattern of Holding Up the Universe would have gone if I had completed it, but I couldn't abide it, so I had to end up stopping. So yeah, it just kind of felt like it was okay. It wasn't anything special. Now, this is Nicola Yoon's first book, So I'm going to give her, the first book thing where I've done in the past, whereby if it is a first book that an author has written, I'm going to let them get away with things, because obviously it's a learning process and everything. And structurally, I'll let her get away with it, with that, with the very short chapters, and it's kind of just disjointed and such for me personally, because I know that she's inside the mind of Maddie, and this is how Maddie's mind kind of works and everything, and there's lots of drawings, and there's pictures of emails, there's whole messages, transcripted messages, that kind of thing, which, yeah, it worked well, but I didn't feel like I knew Maddie all that well, or I knew Ollie all that well. And there was a bit where I was messaging my sister, and I said to her, there's this really interesting section where we're learning about Ollie's past when he was 10 years old, and things that happened, and we've got full dialogue, back and forth conversations between two characters in Ollie's past, but it's been written as Maddie telling us, the audience, because the whole book is first person perspective on her. Why is that? Why? Surely because this is Ollie's story and Ollie's past, that Ollie should be the one who describes it. He should be the one telling the story. Maybe have it so that it's a scene where Maddie and Ollie are literally having a conversation, and he brings it up, and then he is telling that story, rather than it just being Maddie giving us the information whilst this chapter is going on in this other situation. It just felt a bit like, to me. It irked me. But this is a first book for Nicola, so I will let that by, but I do have my concerns about that. The characters are interesting. I did care, but I didn't at the same time. I mean, I cared for okay, let's say, for example, like Ollie. I cared about, his home situation and such, and I thought he had a great personality, but I didn't care for him deeply. Like the whole situation, what's going on at home, if that thing that I've just talked about, where Maddie told us all this information rather than Ollie, if they'd switched it so that it was Ollie and we were getting his perspective straight from his mouth, feeling his emotions about it and everything, I think I would have cared for Ollie a lot more, because it was coming out of his mouth rather than out of Maddie's, when she's had no experience of this whole situation that Ollie has been through. So, it was just a bit disjointed for me, for the way that I felt, the way it was written, the way that I felt about characters, and I kept on asking questions. I was over analysing. We've really, like, me, Laura and Sarah have just had a bit of a back and forth conversation about it, because they've both read the book, and obviously I've only just finished this like an hour and a half ago or something, and I was bringing up all of these questions about logistics, and I couldn't understand how this kind of X event, because I'm not going to say it because obviously for spoilers, but an X event could have happened, or the ownership of a passport. If she's been in a house all of her life, locked away, how can she have a valid passport? Things like this, the logistics stuff. It was just, I couldn't get my head around. And then, our discussions back and forth and everything, I realised that, because US, systems of like hospitals and discussions with patients and confidentiality, and the fact that technically Maddie is 18 as well. She turns 18 at the beginning of the book, which I forgot, because Maddie only refers to her age in one sentence right near the beginning of the book, and I completely forgot about it. So I was thinking, oh, she's a minor, so XYZ should be happening surely, because as a minor there's certain laws and everything that have to be followed, and then realise, oh no, actually she's 18. So I was over analysing, thinking that she was a minor when she is an adult, and it's a bit of a different picture. So I've just, it put me in a bit of a disjointed, confused, asking loads of questions space when I'd finished this book. And overall, I thought the story was okay. It wasn't anything special. I did like her bringing in books and lessons that she learns from books and everything, you know, being somebody who loves books and that. But it was just okay. I have heard some pretty good stuff about the other book that Nicola has written, the name of which has completely fallen out my head. Oh, sorry, Nicola, I feel really bad. I'll find it and I'll put the title in the description below. But I don't know if I actually want to read it. I really don't know. I think she's got promise as a writer, but there were some things that I kind of very much, in a way, figured out what was going to happen. It kind of felt like she's got this plan and she's got these characters, you know, here, there and everywhere, who are doing what you'd expect to do, and I wanted her to do something different because of the setting and everything, and what Maddie is going through, what Ollie is going through. I expected something a bit deeper, and she didn't go deep. She was just like slightly floating below okay. For how dark do you go? I'm not talking that she needs to go as dark as Welsh or anything like that, don't get me wrong, but like she didn't even go as dark as, say, like Cassandra Clare. And Cassandra Clare has, you know, she has her dark elements, but she uses emotions and surroundings and techniques like using weather and colour and certain terms like, you know, like spiraling and you know, that those kind of words to really give you more of an atmosphere, whereas Nicola, it felt like she wasn't quite there. She was sort of conveying those kind of things, but not really. I mean, there is a chapter called Spiral. I'm not gonna tell you what happens in that chapter. It's literally one page, and the entire chapter is written on the page as a spiral. So you literally have to turn the book around like this to be able to read it, right? I loved that. I thought that was brilliant, and I was, oh, great! That was the kind of thing that I wanted. Really capture, really make me understand what Maddie is going through and feeling, and I just felt like for the rest of the book she didn't go there, and I really wish that she did. So maybe for her next book or books, as she explores more in techniques such as that, I think she'll really develop as a stronger writer. But what she has written is good. It is good, it's decent, but it's very easy to read, very easy to get through. And even though I had some issues, I'm still remembering that this is a first book, so she has, you know, far to go in her career. I'm probably, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if she produces, you know, book after book after book and everything, kind of like Jennifer Nevin or John Green, or possibly even like Cassandra Clare, who's written absolutely loads of books, although it's fantasy, young adult fiction rather than romantic young adult fiction. But I think she has promise as a young adult fiction writer. That's not, I'm not trying to put her down by saying young adult fiction. I just mean that the way that she structures stuff and that, it does kind of work for that genre quite well. So I think this is why I think if she keeps to that same kind of structure or, you know, techniques and everything, I think she'll be a strong young adult fiction writer. You don't know, because as I said, this is a first novel, so by writing more and everything, it may give her more of a more techniques. She may develop into other areas of writing and such, and thus be able to make more complex stories, more complex characters, more complex emotions, more complex structure, and so possibly branch out into other genres. And if she does that, then yeah, good for you, Nicola. I just realised that it looked like I was doing a fist, and I actually went to do a thumbs up, and I didn't. That was meant to be a thumbs up, Nicola. Yeah, good for you. If you write loads and you develop your techniques as a writer, that is fantastic. That really is. And yeah, but currently, if she sticks to this kind of structuring, I think she'll do well in the young adult fiction market. But yeah, even though it didn't quite work for me and it was just okay, I think, yeah, I think I get why it's been so popular. Would I recommend this to anyone? Yeah, but I would give the caveat that it is an easy read, and there's something that I want to say and I can't say it because it's going to give a spoiler. Word of warning that you might need tissues, but then at other times you might be asking questions like I did because of the way the story plays out. There we go. I managed to say it without giving any spoilers. Yay, I did well. So would I read any of her other books? Yeah, I probably would. Probably not right now. I kind of feel like after I read the next book, which is the 5th of the young adult fiction, but I really need a break from young adult fiction. I had thought about doing the next 5 as more young adult fiction in my book collection, but I'm like, no, God, no, I need a break from this. I need a break. So yeah, would I read any of others? Yes, but I would wait a while, and I think I would explore, hopefully by then she's written some more books, so I can explore a few of her books and see how her writing has developed and everything. And yeah, I wish her all the best in her career, certainly in her writing. As I said, I think she could be a really successful young adult fiction writer. But if, she does develop her writing and she explores new avenues and everything, I think that's great. I really do. And you don't know, it may lead on to adult fiction and other genres. So yeah, all the best, Nicola. And I've just realised I've gotten like 18 minutes into this and I haven't done a reading. So I better do a bit of one now. So this is a chapter of Maddie. She's just met Ollie for the first time, physically met him, because the nurse, Carla, has actually invited Ollie over to the house, and this is after he is gone. So her mum has no idea that he's been there. It's a big secret, and so now that he's left the house, this is Maddie afterwards. Before Carla arrives the next morning, I spend exactly 13 minutes in bed convinced that I'm getting sick. It takes her exactly 6 minutes to unconvince me. She takes my temperature, blood pressure, heart and pulse rates before declaring that I am simply love-struck. Classic symptoms, she says. I'm not in love. I can't be in love. Why not? Well, what would be the point? I say, throwing my hands up. Me in love would be like a food critic with no taste buds. It'd be like being a colourblind painter. It would be like skinny dipping by yourself. I have to laugh at that one. Exactly, I say. Pointless. It's not pointless, she says and looks at me seriously. Just because you can't experience everything doesn't mean that you shouldn't experience anything. Besides, doomed love is part of life. I'm not in love, I say again. But you're not sick, she retorts, so there's nothing to worry about. For the rest of the morning, I'm too distracted to read or do homework. Despite Carla's reassurance that I'm not getting sick, I find myself paying too close attention to my body and how it feels. Are my fingertips tingling? Do they usually do that? Why can't I seem to catch my breath? How many somersaults can a stomach do before becoming irreparably knotted? I ask Carla to do an extra check on my vitals and the results are all normal. By the afternoon, I acknowledge in my head that Carla might be onto something. I might not be in love, but I'm in serious like. I wander the house aimlessly, seeing Ollie everywhere. I see him in my kitchen, making stacks of toast from dinner. I see him in my living room, suffering through Pride and Prejudice with me. I see him in my bedroom, his black-clad body asleep on my white couch. It's not just Ollie that I see. I keep picturing myself floating high above the earth from the edge of space. I can see the whole world all at once. My eyes don't have to stop at a wall or a door. I can see the beginning and the end of time. I can see infinity from there. And for the first time in a long time, I want more than I have. And she closes with a drawing. As I said, there's drawings throughout of what I've just described. So there's Maddie and there's Ollie on Earth that she's looking down upon. So yeah, it doesn't have the depth that I wanted it to go, but it's a pretty good book. But yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily read it again, but it's all right. It's not bad. There was a film version that came out in 2000. I can't remember if it was 17 or 18. I haven't been able to get a hold of a copy. It's not available on Netflix, and because of my bad ankle, I haven't been able to go into town. I've worked from home for 3 days because I just couldn't get to town with my ankle. So I haven't been able to buy a copy. So I can't review the film. But looking at clips on YouTube, it kind of feels like they really focus on Maddie's side of the book, but not necessarily on Ollie's side with what's going on with him and his family life and everything. It looks all right from what I can tell. But yeah, I haven't watched the film, so I can't possibly comment. But yeah, I'll see if I can get a hold of a copy and watch it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Everything by Nicola Yoon. Have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave a comment in the comments box below. Leave a thumbs up, thumb down, entirely up to you. I'll let you decide. And I will be back with my thoughts on my last of the 5 young adult fiction books that I picked out, which is Ink. I'll be starting that probably Monday. We'll see. I might do tomorrow. We'll just see what I get up to. And yeah, and then after that, I will announce the next 5 books in my collection. If you've got a suggestion for genres that you want me to read next, please just let me know. Leave me a comment, and I will raid my book collection and see what I can find for you in those genres. And if not, then I'll just choose what I want to read. All right, guys. Bye.